You want to make sure that you have everything done correctly in your business, right? One of the many important year-end tasks is to make sure that you're correctly paying and classifying wages. There are many different entity types that businesses can be set up as, and depending on how your business is set up, will determine how you pay yourself as a business owner, a shareholder, or an officer, especially if you're considered an S corporation. In today's podcast episode, I'm covering the essentials of what you need to do when it comes to compensation, especially for the S corporations who need to pay a reasonable compensation to officers and shareholder employees. It doesn't matter if you're using a computerized software system like QuickBooks, Xero, Wave, or FreshBooks for your business finances, or if you're doing your bookkeeping manually with an Excel spreadsheet or even a Google document. You need to make sure that you're recording your payroll correctly. Whether you're starting a business or side hustle, you're a self-employed individual, a solopreneur, entrepreneur, mompreneur, freelancer, business owner, bookkeeper, virtual assistant, or other professional. Listen in so that you are aware of how to classify and pay your wages as a business owner and avoid one of the major red flags out there. You're listening to the Mastering Your Small Business Finances podcast, where we get straight to the point on topics that ultimately affect your bottom line. That's right, as an entrepreneur with a small business, money management, growth, marketing, they all affect your bottom line. I'm your host, Chris Ponick. I'm a certified public accountant, and I've been helping small business owners like you navigate and easily understand these complicated topics for over 25 years. I'm a wife, a mom, a grandmother, and a small business owner myself, so I know your time is valuable. In my free time, I make the best sugar cookies and have mastered an amazing chocolate chip cookie recipe. And that's not just my opinion. You're in the right place. I promise your time will be well spent here. Each week, you'll gain confidence and clarity while making a successful impact on your business and grow your bottom line. Get comfy, grab a cookie, and let's get straight to the point with this week's episode. Welcome back. Understanding payroll and compensation is extremely important when you own your own business. Avoiding issues with the IRS is normally something that all business owners work towards achieving, which is why today I want to make sure that you understand how important compensation is. Today, we're diving into the importance of wage compensation for S corporation officers and shareholder employees. With an S corporation, corporate taxes are passed through to their shareholders. The shareholders then report this income on their personal return and pay the appropriate taxes. Corporate officers are considered employees under the Internal Revenue Code. When these officers perform more than minor services for the corporation and receive or are entitled to receive payments, their compensation is generally considered wages. When you're an S corporation, these payments should be treated as wages and not distributions of cash and property or loans to shareholders. Since these officers or shareholders are considered employees, they should not attempt to avoid paying employment taxes by having their compensation as something other than wages. The IRS states that distributions and other payments from an S corporation to a corporate officer must be treated as wages to the extent the amounts are reasonable compensation for services rendered to the corporation. The amount of compensation will never exceed the amount received by the shareholder, either directly or indirectly. However, any cash or property, or the right to receive cash and property that goes to the shareholder must have a salary amount determined, and that level of salary must be reasonable and appropriate, and they're subject to FICA taxes and other employment taxes. Unfortunately, There's no specific guidelines as to what reasonable and appropriate compensation is. Some factors to consider when determining reasonable compensation are training and experience, duties and responsibilities, time and effort devoted to the business, payments to non-shareholder employees, and what other comparable businesses pay for similar services. Making sure that you set up your compensation as reasonable and appropriate is important. The Internal Revenue Service can reclassify payments that are made to shareholders from other payments, such as distributions, and reclassify them as wages. These wages are also then subject to FICA tax and other employment taxes. Depending on when this reclassification takes place, you could also be liable for penalties and interest for any unpaid payroll taxes. If you're an accountant or high-stress professional, you want to start enjoying your life more, both at work and at home. You've likely built a successful career, but at what cost? The problem is, you're so buried in deadlines and to-do lists that there's no time or energy left for the things that really matter. You're great at managing clients, deadlines, and numbers, but your own stress, time, and well-being, well, they always seem to come last. The constant pressure leads to burnout, guilt, and feeling like no matter how much you do, it's never enough. I see this all the time. As a CPA with over 20 years of experience and a certified coach, I've helped high-achieving professionals, just like you, go from stress and burnout to a more integrated and balanced lifestyle using the reinvention process. This process helps you reduce stress, reclaim your time, and finally build a healthier, happier, and more balanced lifestyle without sacrificing your success. The truth is, stress doesn't go away on its own, and eventually the cost isn't just exhaustion. It's your health, your relationships, and your love for the work you once enjoyed. If you're ready to build a life that you don't need a vacation from, it's easy to get started. First, schedule your complimentary stress audit and clarity session, where in just one session, I'll help you pinpoint what's really draining your time and energy. Create a personalized action plan to help you simplify your life, reclaim your time, and increase your productivity so that you start living with more energy, focus, and freedom. You don't have to keep doing this alone. I can help you customize a plan to stop the overwhelm and start enjoying your life again. Go to financialadventure.com, click on the Work With Me button, and book your free session today. Let this be the moment that you stop just surviving and start living with more control and finally enjoy a more integrated and balanced lifestyle again. In the meantime, check out all the other resources and solutions on my website that you can immediately apply to your life so that you can stop being stressed out and feeling like you're never doing enough, and instead breathe a sigh of relief at the end of the day knowing you've accomplished enough and can enjoy your life more. If you're wondering what the difference between a distribution and a salary is, well, it's pretty simple. Distributions are the money that is distributed to you as an owner or a shareholder. These distributions are not considered wages, and they're not considered income. Salaries, on the other hand, is the amount of money that you pay yourself or your employees. This amount is considered compensation or wages and is subject to employment taxes. If you're an S corporation and you have not paid yourself or your officers or shareholder employees, you want to make sure that you get this set up so that you can file all the necessary payroll reports and pay your employment taxes on time. There are many small S corporations who pay themselves on a one-time basis or an annual basis. If you're paying yourself on an annual basis, you may want to think about changing your payments to a quarterly basis just to distribute your taxes evenly throughout the year. processing payroll can be complicated. If you don't feel like you have the knowledge to process your payroll on your own, make sure that you contact someone who can help you with this. On the other hand, if you use a payroll processing software that's easy to use, you can certainly process your payroll on your own if you feel comfortable. If you have any questions about payroll for your business, you know that you can always reach out to me by going to financialadventure.com/contact-us. And you know I'm going to ask, what's at least one thing that you'll take away from this episode that will help your business succeed and grow your bottom line? If you need some accountability, join our private Facebook community and post your action item. We'd love to support you. Thanks for taking the time to tune into this episode of Mastering Your Small Business Finances. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it for you, I'd love for you to give it a 5-star rating and subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Visit financialadventure.com for the show notes, links from this episode, and while you're there, leave a comment if you have a topic you're interested in learning more about that affects your bottom line. If you're looking for a community where you can ask questions and get feedback about your small business, join my private Facebook group. You can find the links to this group and more on financialadventure.com. And remember, any financial information shared on this podcast is not to be considered professional, financial, or tax advice and should not be solely relied upon. Please consult your CPA or tax advisor for an opinion on your specific circumstances. I'm looking forward to having you tune in next time. Until then, dream big, follow your heart, and love what you do.